Ms. Serratis, and in this video, I am going to walk you through on creating your schedule. So I like using Google Drawing for the schedule. You can use Google Docs, but I prefer Drawing because it's easy to work with pictures, and a lot of kids like to put pictures in their schedule. So let's start by creating a table by going into Insert and then Table. Your schedule should be 7 columns by 10 rows. Don't worry, if you make a mistake, you can go ahead and add columns and rows. The next thing I like to do is stretch it out. Whenever I'm stretching things, I prefer to stretch from the corners. And there we go. And leave some room at the top. Make sure you don't go off the page. The top is going to be for your name. And then you just start filling it in. This is going to be A day or B day. And this over here, we're going to start with the homeroom. And then we're going to move into block 1. And then inside each of your cells, you're going to type in. So for example, I'm going to stop here. I notice my font is 14, and this is very big. You're not going to be able to fit your entire schedule. So I'm going to go ahead and change it to 11. I've found that 11, generally speaking, will fit. You may have to actually change it to 10, but we'll see once we start typing it. I feel like I might need to move it just a little bit higher. And anyways, so let's say for block 1, I have math, so I'd write math. And I have Miss as well, so you only need to type in their last name and then the room number. So each of these cells has to have the subject, the teacher, and the room number. So go ahead, pause this video and fill this all out, and then come on back and I'll give you some more tips. Okay, so I have gone ahead and typed it all in. Couple things I want you to notice is I opted to put the times. So if you do choose to do that, I don't recommend you stick it in the cells. I recommend you just keep it here in this first column. And I also included lunch in case you're wondering what some of these columns were about, and some of these rows, I should say, and I made sure to put in homeroom as well. So now if I go to the rubric, many of you will be like, all right, this is done, add some color, add a picture, and I'm done. But if I go to the rubric, I know I'm missing a couple of things. So let me just go to the rubric and let's look at it. First thing it says, add your name. So to go ahead and add my name, oh, I don't need that one anymore. So add my name, you could use word art or you could type your name. So to do word art, you just go to insert word art and you go ahead and use that function. It also says in the rubric to make sure you have column headings and row headings and class information. So that basically is referring to, if I come here, I've got my column headings, A day, B day, C day, and then my row headings, period 1 or block 1, whichever one we're calling it now, and 3 pieces of information per cell. It's also talking about merge and center. So if you notice at this final schedule, because homeroom repeats every day at the same time, I decided to merge it. Same thing for lunch and same thing for Mustang block. So depending on when you do the schedule, maybe you have a different Mustang block, maybe it is the same, I'm not sure. So how do you merge it? Very simply. I'm just going to go ahead and delete this information. And then I'm going to select the 3 columns and I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to merge cells. And what that did was make it all one big block. And now I can go ahead and type your math teacher. I'm sorry, your homeroom teacher. So let's just say I have Dulstead, then I would do that. And I'd want to put down her room, which is 201. Okay. And that'll take care of that. You notice that this is kind of big. So a couple ways that you can fix it. Make sure you click at the end of at the end of each section and hit the delete key, because what happens is sometimes you might have some extra space, and if you notice, it's putting the schedule off the page. So when that happens, you've got to click at the end and make sure you hit the delete key like I'm doing, and that'll bring them up. Okay? Also, so I'm going to do it here. Make sure you do it on the ends. And I'd like to bring this up a little bit because honestly, I don't need it. I don't need that extra space. So it takes a little bit maneuvering, but I'm going to bring it up. It'll only go as far as we have room over here. And so I could do the same thing with lunch because we have lunch the same time every day, whatever block that you have your lunch in. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to merge that. And I'm also going to do a merging. So once I merge it, oh, I forgot to do that for here as well. Once I merge it, I can go ahead and center it. So come on back while I finish as I finish my merging. Okay, so now that I've merged, looking back at the rubric, and it's talking about center and middle alignment of all the cells. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do that now. If you notice that by default, everything is to the left. So the way that you fix that is I'm just going to go ahead and select it. And I want to make sure that I do the center. So that puts it that way. But I also want to come here and do the middle. Now, the reason why you didn't notice anything change is because I already had centered it. But let's say, for example, there was more space here. And so if I did not, this one here would put it at the top of the box, and this here puts it at the center of the box. So let me just undo what I'm doing. Just make sure that by the time you're finished, all of your data, that is the information, each of these cells are in the center, and they're also in the middle. That's what that part of the rubric refers to. And then the last three rubric items are all the creativity, a line style, an image, and adding creativity and effort. So here you'll notice that I chose not to do an image. I just chose to do some block colors, but I did change the lines. So a lot of kids, though, want to put an image. So what you want to do is search for an image, and I'm going to find an image and come on back. So let's say I decide to do the Norwood Mustang logo. So I'm going to go ahead and copy the image, come to my schedule, right click, probably in the top left corner, and do a paste. And now I'm going to stretch the image out to fit the areas that I want it to be. I can do the entire schedule, or maybe I just want it in the center and I'll fill in the colors around it. And you're like, hey, Ms. Serratis, it's blocking all of the information. No problem. So one thing that you want to do is be mindful of its the way it's shaded. So I mean, you can do the coloring differences, but I want to make it a little bit more transparent so I can see the words. I know you guys have all these great pictures and you want to see your pictures, but the transparency, you have to actually be able to see the schedule. So once I've made it transparent and I've pretty much put it where I think I want it to be and sized it the way I wanted to size it. Maybe I want to make it bigger like that. The next thing I want to do is send it to the back so I can actually access my words. And the way that you do that is you go to Arrange, you go to Order, and I do Send to Back. And now it lives behind the schedule and I could see my words a little bit better. So in order to get to it, I'm going to have to bring it forward in order to get to it. Now it's time to actually work on my schedule. So at this point, I should have probably have centered that. You can go ahead and maybe make everything bold if you like. Change the colors of your fonts. The only last thing I didn't really like, so in order to apply a fill color, that would be this bucket here. This bucket would apply a fill over there. If I want to do a fill over here, again, it's the bucket color. You could also do it in a checkerboard format, meaning just, one blue, one gold, whichever one you choose. You probably want to know how to do the lines. The way that you do the lines, if you want to do them all at once, you just select them all. And this is actually where you select the line color just for demonstration purposes so that you can see that I've changed the lines. I'm going to head and pick this pink. And then you can pick the thickness of the lines, whether you want to wicked thick or if you want them dotty, and you can see that the lines are changed. And the only thing I'm really missing here is the name. So if I go back to my final product, you'll see here that I did make them thick lines, but I didn't actually add a picture. I could have added the picture to the schedule if I had wanted to, if I wanted to do it over here. Again, format options, go ahead. I keep going to there. It's actually under adjustments. Just make it a little bit transparent. Once I make it transparent, I can select the size, the size that I want it. And to put it behind my text, I go to Arrange, Order, Send to Back. Now, the reason why I can't see it is because it looks like there's a gray color over here. So you need to make sure that I need to make sure that I get rid of the gray color because the rule is in each cell, you can either have the picture or the color, but not both. And once I'm ready, I want to do a print preview to see what it looks like. So I just hit the print button. And this is what it looks like when it's going to print out. I probably will come over here and do a fit to page. And there it is. That looks beautiful. So now you try. Have fun with it.